Hello everyone, 2025 has been an incredible year for indie RPGs. Seriously, the lineup is crazy good. And today, I will give you guys 20 standout new indie RPG masterpieces you'll definitely don't want to miss in 2025. Well, let's get into the list.
Between maps, extreme weather alters the battlefield in this.
What if Mass Effect wasn't about blasting enemies, but about surviving in a broken sci-fi world and trying to make real change? That's basically the idea behind Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. And honestly, it feels like the developer asked, what if we made a deep RPG where the story and your choices matter more than guns and explosions? This time, the heart of the game is camaraderie, building a crew, traveling through space together, and helping each other through tough, grounded cyberpunk stories. And just like the first game, the gameplay mixes visual novel storytelling with tabletop-style dice rolls. Even without flashy animations, the writing makes every choice feel vivid, like you're right there with your crew working through problems, failing, and trying again.
The belt is wide, Sleeper. So whatever comes at us next, just remember,
Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree mixes two genres we see a lot these days, Metroidvania exploration and Souls-like combat. If you know those genres, you can already picture most of what this game is trying to do. Like Souls games, the story isn't told directly. NPCs give you short bits of lore about the kingdom, the witches, and a strange force called entropy. And the game is also a full-on Metroidvania, so you'll pick up new abilities, break hidden walls, fly across gaps, and unlock shortcuts as you explore. But it also adds a deep RPG element. You will pick from 6 classes, and later you can mix them together to create hybrid builds. The skill trees are huge, but surprisingly easy to understand, and the game lets you respec whenever you want. So experimenting is super fun.
But the Enclave's foes come in.
No big marketing, no hype, just a small debut studio hoping players discover it through reviews and word of mouth. But here's the thing, Eternal Strands is genuinely impressive. It mixes ideas from Shadow of the Colossus, Dragon's Dogma, and Breath of the Wild. And while it doesn't reach those legendary heights, it gets surprisingly close for a first game. One of the coolest things about Eternal Strands is its thermophysics system. Everything reacts to heat and cold. Fire arrows heat up rocks, melt snow, and ignite grass. Frost powers freeze enemies, lock flying creatures to the ground, or even create ice platforms and climbing paths. And kinetic powers let you lift objects, throw enemies, or launch yourself into the air. It turns the world into one big playground where almost anything can interact with magic.
Allows you to weave new abilities into your mantle. With new powers at your command, and the world is your weapon, you hold the key to uncovering.
Demons are hereditary.
Cabernet is a 2D narrative RPG set in 19th century Eastern Europe. It starts with Liza's funeral, where your choices in the eulogy shape the skills she'll have, then suddenly you wake up as Liza herself trapped in a dungeon, making a deal with a mysterious voice, and next thing you know, you're at a party full of vampires, as one of them. Feeding on people is where the game gets really dark and clever. Most of the gameplay is about managing your time, choosing who to help, and deciding who you're willing to feed on when you're desperate. Since everyone has their own story, your actions can impact the entire town. And because victims don't remember being fed on, but feel something was wrong, the relationship damage can come back later in unexpected ways.
Pacing or drinking.
Demons are hereditary, my dear. Always.
At first glance, Necesse looks like Terraria from a top-down view. It's an open-world survival crafting RPG set in a fully procedurally generated world. You can grow your own settlement, recruit villagers, dive into dungeons, and take down pirate kings. And you can do all of this solo, or with as many friends as you want. There are even 5 different game modes when starting a world: classic, hard, brutal, adventure, and casual. So replayability is definitely there. The game begins with a short tutorial to teach you the basics, and the controls feel simple and smooth. There aren't too many buttons to memorize, which makes the early game comfortable even for new players. If you've ever played Yakuza or Like a Dragon, you already know. Sometimes the minigames steal the show. Dondoko Island, Cabaret Club Management, Real Estate, they're so good they could be standalone releases. Well, this time, someone actually did it, and the result is Promise Mascot Agency, a game that feels like it was built in a lab by Yakuza fans. It has Yakuza-style drama, goofy comedy, wild plot twists, and even Kiryu's Japanese voice actor. You play as Michi, a Yakuza member sent to deliver money to another family, but things go wrong, the money gets stolen, and now your whole family is in danger. To protect him, they fake Michi's death and send him to a dying town to run their old mascot agency. Yes, mascots. And in this world, mascots aren't costumes, they are actual people who look like mascots. It's weird, but in a good way. Crashlands 2 is an indie game that mixes resources, survival, and even happiness. Literally. In Crashlands 2, we play as Purple, a character from the first game who's now famous, signing books and traveling between planets, but in a twist of fate, she crashlands again, on the exact same planet from the first game. The game adds a fun new idea. Your job isn't just to survive, it's to make the NPCs happy. Each person wants something different. Some want certain furniture, some need a home in a specific area, and some have little quirks you'll need to understand. When they're happy, they become more helpful, giving you quests, new crafting ideas, and goals that push the story forward. This becomes a big part of the gameplay loop. NPCs are almost like your guides, gently pushing you into new zones and giving you reasons to explore. Dark Deity 2 takes us back to the world of Varroa years after the Empyrean War. The hero from the first game, Irving, is now the Grandmaster of the Order of Eternals, a group that helps people while staying far away from politics. This game is a strategy RPG where it starts by giving players plenty of options. Different difficulties, modes, and ways to tweak fights. The combat plays out on grid maps, similar to Fire Emblem, where each character has unique abilities. You can attack, buff, heal, and even deal damage outside of direct combat. Instead of permanent death, characters get temporary injuries when defeated, which disappear after one chapter. This keeps battles tense, but not frustrating.
We can't risk people's lives in the merciless.
Is that all you got?
2023's Sea of Stars was one of the most hyped turn-based RPGs of the year. Some people loved it, some felt the story didn't fully land, but almost everyone agreed the gameplay and dungeon design were fantastic. So when the free DLC Throes of the Watchmaker was announced with around 8 hours of new content, a lot of fans was excited but kept their expectations in check. Gameplay-wise, this DLC adds new skills with easier timing inputs, but don't let that fool you. The difficulty definitely goes up. Bosses hit harder, have trickier patterns, and force you to engage with the lock-breaking system more carefully. If you haven't played Sea of Stars since launch, it might take a moment to shake off the rust, but cooking food and finding new gear helps a lot.
But beware! Unlike your very selves, the ovation will surely be standing!
Mortal Sin is a grim, violent, first-person action roguelite RPG, and easily one of the most brutal games in the genre, but it's also really, really good. Usually visuals come later in a review, but with Mortal Sin, they're impossible to ignore. The game uses intense colors, extreme contrast, and heavy saturation, creating an eye-melting look that you'll either love or hate. As you play, you will unlock tons of different character builds. Pretty much every classic fantasy role has a version of it here, and each one changes how you fight. You then pick a biome, ruins, creepy caves, or even a pirate-themed zone, and go on a fast, furious rampage. The game is designed to punish you. It wants to chew you up and spit out a game over. Keep Driving is a turn-based road trip RPG that captures the feeling of being young, having a beat-up car, a tank full of gas, some snacks, and a summer full of possibilities. At first, it feels like a relaxing road trip, music blasting, junk food everywhere, and all your worries shrinking behind you. But then the check engine light turns on, you're low on gas, and that hitchhiker you picked up starts acting a little weird. The system is super simple and easy to learn, but it takes planning. Skills can run out, and you'll need to refill or restock at towns along the way. If things go really bad, you run out of gas or destroy the engine, it's not game over.
So simple. I was just a beginner, and the monsters were...
IdleOn is one of the most unique indie MMORPGs ever made. It first launched in 2021, and even after all these years, it still pulls in a loyal and active community. The game was made by just one developer, Lava Flame 2, a one-man dev team that has managed to update the game consistently for years. That alone is impressive. Despite being solo, he keeps IdleOn fresh with updates, new areas, new mechanics, and quality of life improvements. And that dedication really shows. What sets IdleOn apart is simple. Instead of grinding for hours, your characters keep progressing even when you're offline. The combat in IdleOn feels like a 2D platformer, very similar to MapleStory. You watch your characters walk around, jump, attack monsters, and collect loot. It's simple, colorful, and surprisingly satisfying.
To the smoldering plateau, got 3rd-degree burns, and learned the magical ways of the elemental sorcerer, summoning bolts of ice, the mole spell, and my thunderbolt, finishing off the...
There are a lot of indie Soulsborne games every year, but only a few really stand out. And now in 2025, we already have a new hit on our hands, FlyKnight. This game has a cool PS2 style look, an insect world, and a dungeon crawler vibe. On Steam, it already has thousands of reviews and sits at an overwhelmingly positive rating, not bad at all for a tiny indie game. So what makes FlyKnight so good? For me, it's the combat. FlyKnight uses stamina-based fighting. Every swing and every block uses stamina, so every move matters. And the game shows its best and unique idea, limb-based combat. You can actually cut off enemy limbs during fights. Swing from the side and you can slice off an arm holding a dagger, angle your attacks, and another limb goes flying. It's fun, it's messy, and it adds a new layer to the classic Souls-like formula. Look Outside mixes retro RPG combat with survival horror rules. You play as a guy living in an apartment building where anyone who looks outside becomes twisted into a monster. Some kind of godlike creature has arrived on Earth, and it's reshaping people however it wants. Not everyone in the building is gone, though. You'll meet other residents who give missions, offer items, or just try to stay sane. Survival is the heart of the game. Right from the start, you're told you only have 2 weeks before something terrible happens. So every in-game day counts. You're not just battling monsters in turn-based combat. You also have to take care of yourself. Eat, shower, keep your morale up, even brush your teeth. All of this boosts your stats and makes you tougher in fights. Chained Echoes was one of the biggest indie surprises of 2022. Now, the long-awaited Ashes of Elrant DLC is finally here. It adds a whole new story that takes place right before the end of the base game, and the cool thing is, they never revealed much about the plot beforehand, so jumping in feels fresh, with almost no expectations. Gameplay-wise, this is still Chained Echoes at its core: overdrive combat, equipment upgrades, and battles that reward you for going all in. But the DLC adds a few new systems. Monsters now drop party points, which you can use to unlock new party talents, things like stat boosts, and you can even play some mini-games.
Ever seen such a large-scale necro invasion before?
Even if AI limit don't hit the same highs as other Souls-like genres best, the game is still fun. You start the game in a sewer with no memory, learning the basics as you go, and yes, it feels a lot like a reskinned Dark Souls. Souls are now crystals, bonfires are branches, magic is mud, and your character is basically a Nier-style android. The combat gives you everything you'd expect. A perfect parry that stuns enemies, shields that absorb damage, magic that shoots everything from lasers to lightning, and a variety of weapons from giant greatswords to fast daggers. Honestly, almost everything here could fit right into a From Software game. And to be clear, that's not an insult, the game is enjoyable. And Under Magnolia Bloom in the Mist is an amazing Metroidvania RPG, and I can confidently say it's a fantastic sequel to Ender Lilies, and it manages to surpass the original without losing what made it special. Just like its prequel, your character doesn't swing a sword herself. Instead, you summon different homunculi, each acting like a weapon or skill. The combat feels smoother, and the customization gives you more freedom. Each homunculus has different moves and forms. You can mix and match them to make cool combos that match your playstyle, and with relics, accessories, and gear to tweak your stats, there's a lot of room for creative builds, whether you want to deal more damage, earn more rewards, or heal over time. The first-person fantasy RPG world has been ruled by one series for so long that seeing a new contender feels refreshing. That's where Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon steps in, a dark fantasy adventure set in a twisted version of Arthurian legend. If you've ever played Skyrim, you'll feel right at home. It's first-person, you explore places, fight monsters, complete quests, and loot everything until you're too heavy to walk. The gear works simply. Wear what you want, but heavier items raise your overall weight level. The stats are split into 6 attributes covering strength, dexterity, endurance, and the mental stuff like spirituality and perception. Your skills will improve simply by using them, and the best part of Tainted Grail is the atmosphere. The world feels dangerous, broken, and mysterious.
I need to say about all this.
I write only letters.
Hades 2 builds on everything the first game did, but in a way that makes it feel like we got 2 sequels at once. It's still an isometric action roguelike RPG, but the amount of new content, new systems, new areas, new style, shows just how far Supergiant has evolved. The game isn't just more Hades, it's a lot more Hades. Instead of one main route, you now have 2 massive paths to explore, each with different enemies, bosses, and challenges. The surface route, once unlocked, hits you hard with tougher enemies and chaotic battles, making it feel like the game cranks the difficulty to 11. Each run feels unique, and you'll often change strategies depending on what you're aiming for.
So what's up? I call upon the moon and draw you down.
I vow to shine for you.
Deltarune is an indie RPG that carries the same heart, humor, and wild creativity that made Undertale so iconic. The writing is genuinely funny, the music is fantastic, and even though the pixel art looks simple, it hides a story packed with twists, emotion, and surprisingly deep moments. The combat is turn-based, but it constantly keeps things fresh with new ideas. And just like in Undertale, you don't have to fight. You can choose to act instead. Talk your way out of battles, flirt, dance, or do something completely unexpected. Every enemy needs a different approach, and each party member has their own unique way of handling situations. That's all for today's list. Subscribe and like for more new, exciting indie RPGs. That's it, and see you next time.